Y'all just be on here doing the most. Just relax. This is not sanitary, but... Oh, shoot. The BON was contacted over 50 times regarding my case. My job was also posted online, and my family did create me a GoFundMe, which I'm so grateful for. This is going to be a long journey and a very long process for me. If you guys are able to donate, the GoFundMe link is posted in my bio.
She sacrificed sleep, meals, and moments with her kids to build a better life and to serve others in a profession she loves. But one mistake threatened to undo all of that.
Obviously, this is the first time y'all been on here because I go live. This ain't the first time that
So about 2 weeks ago now, we discussed nurse influencers and kind of just generally how that's made nurses and other medical professionals act in a very unprofessional manner in aims of getting more internet clout. And among those nurses that we discussed was one nurse in particular named Yazz Scott. Scott is a TikToker and former nurse who gained infamy after literally live streaming on work. And during that live stream, you can literally see her saying a patient's name on stream, biting into a patient's medication, and also literally making a medication error on the live stream while everybody was watching, likely due to the distraction of literally live streaming when you're supposed to be focusing on something else. Following this controversy, she would all but confirm that she had basically been suspended from her job, saying that she had seen her position online.
So yeah, the BON was contacted over 50 times regarding my case. My job was also posted online, and they were also contacted. As of now, I am currently suspended until the investigation is over. I do want you guys to know that I'm well aware, again, of how extreme and severe my actions were. You do things and you don't think that it's going to go viral. You don't think that it's going to be even seen.
She basically explains that people have contacted the board of nursing in the state that she lives in. I'm not going to be specific because of some of the things she said she's experienced, like threats. But yeah, over 50 times, and basically she's seeing her job online. So she's basically reached the conclusion, like most of us have, that her job is totally cut because of the incident and all the ensuing controversy. But that's not all, because not only was she fired, not only did she live stream online, despite literal warnings from people who were watching the disaster as it continued, she also claims that her family has started a GoFundMe for her. So yeah, instead of getting another job, or instead of, actually sitting down and thinking about what she did, she's going to the internet again to ask for money after she literally live streamed during MedPass. But before we get into all that insanity, I just wanted to first thank you all so much for 10,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for watching me, and I can't believe, literally, like I said in my community post, it's only been over a year. So the fact that 10,000 of y'all decided to tune in, thank you so much. Okay, now let's get right back into the insanity that is Yazz Scott. So when we left off last time, Yazz had kind of been making these videos where she said a lot of nothing, really just crashing out on the internet after the video went viral, and a lot of people were calling her out for her very odd and very weird behavior. But now she seems to have changed up her content a bit, especially after the announcement of this GoFundMe, which we'll just watch this video together, but I have a lot to say about it.
Good morning, guys. I did want to come on here. I'm just waking up for the day, but I did want to take a second to create this video to let you guys know that my family did create me a GoFundMe, which I'm so grateful for. This is going to be a long journey and a very long process for me. If you guys are able to donate, the GoFundMe link is posted in my bio. If not, or if you just simply don't want to donate, I totally understand. I totally get it. My inbox is open. I read every single message that is sent to me. I may not be able to respond to every message, but I want you guys to know that I do see every message, whether it's positive, whether it's just some sort of encouragement, whether it's constructive criticism. I do see every single message. And yeah, I want to thank you guys in advance for any type of support throughout this process. I do know the severity of what's going on. I'm well aware of what's going on right now. And I'm just going to continue to try to stay positive and continue to push forward through all of this. Thank you guys again for thinking of me, taking the time to watch this video. Any donations and any messages that you guys decide to send, I'm truly grateful for. Thank you.
So this is basically just her announcing her GoFundMe, And we're going to take a look at the page, but I just wanted to see like the immediate reaction from people after they saw this. So let's just open the comments here. The top comment literally says, "Girl, you can still work at a retail grocery store or something until then. A GoFundMe is actually diabolical. People donated 1,200 so far. Listen, every day I be thinking, let me put my pride on the side and come online begging the way y'all be giving money away. A GoFundMe for what? You're perfectly capable of working. Use your phone to apply for other jobs besides nursing. DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, etc. Starbucks, Chipotle, Walmart, etc. will still hire you. You can work retail and other jobs until this investigation is over." And that's just the general vibe I'm getting from the comments. Like, it doesn't seem like there was a overall positive response to this GoFundMe, which in my opinion, I agree with, because we just really have to think about what actually happened on this live stream. People in the comments were saying, "Hey girl, your license," like they weren't saying your license might be revoked, but they were warning her, "Hey, this might be against HIPAA regulations. Hey, you just said a patient's name on stream. Hey, you shouldn't be doing this." So this whole idea that it was just one mistake and that she didn't know and that nobody told her. And I'm going to get to comments later, but I also heard a lot of people discussing in the comments, like people who are medical professionals, also just learning more about what people are told, what a lot of hospitals are telling people and a lot of facilities are telling people. And it is definitely not to be live streaming on the clock during your med pass. This is something that should have been taught, HIPAA laws, as well as just kind of general, like, I don't know, social media etiquette. And this is somewhat of a problem where, like, maybe some people don't get the social media etiquette part, but, like, HIPAA, at least, should be something that is well known. I think there might be a apprehension to basically telling people, hey, don't live stream at work, because that's common sense. Like, why would you want to live stream at work? Why would you... I don't know. It's kind of insane to me. But basically, she claims that her family set up this GoFundMe, and people were still very upset. We're going to see a lot of this. This was an honest mistake. In my opinion, it was a mistake, right? After it ended up being her losing her license, after it ended up being her actually facing consequences for her actions. But in the moment, it didn't seem like it was a mistake for her. She was enjoying that live stream, interacting with the comments, literally leaving her patients behind, leaving her job behind, while seemingly still on the clock to interact with the chat. So again, it wasn't a mistake until I was caught. And that's one thing about this situation that really is just rubbing me the wrong way. I have empathy for the people around her, and I'll talk about that more later, but like for her directly, you're really pushing it. But let's just go and look at this GoFundMe because, hey, maybe she has this extremely good reason as to why we should be forking over our money to her after she literally live streamed her med pass. So here's the GoFundMe. It says, "Give Yazz Scott a second chance at nursing." It has raised over $2,427, and it has a $15,000 goal. And you can see the first picture, which I'm going to blur, is literally just her family here. And here's the description. "Support Yazz Scott, a nurse's fight for a second chance. I'm reaching out as a father who's concerned watching his daughter's life and career fall apart after a single mistake, one that she deeply regrets and is working tirelessly to make right. My daughter Yazz Scott is a licensed practical nurse, a single mother of 3, and one of the most determined people I know. She didn't just stumble into nursing, she earned it. For over a year, Yazz made a 180-mile round trip to nursing school every day, through all kinds of weather while raising her children alone. She sacrificed sleep, meals, and moments with her kids to build a better life and to serve others in a profession she loves. But one mistake threatened to undo all of that. Yazz is currently under investigation by the nursing board for a medication pass error and a potential HIPAA violation involving a TikTok video. It was an immature and thoughtless decision made without fully understanding the consequences. She never intended to harm anyone, but she now realizes that intent doesn't erase impact. She has taken full responsibility and is committed to learning and growing from this painful experience. Since then, the fallout has been devastating. She's lost her job, she's been publicly humiliated online and in the media. She's been harassed, mocked, and even told to harm herself. She can no longer find work in her field. Worst of all, nursing organizations across the country have used her image without her permission as a cautionary tale in training sessions, compounding her shame and making it harder for her to move forward. Yazz is not a malicious person. She's a young mother who made a mistake, took accountability, and now needs a second chance. She's committed to becoming a better nurse and human being. However, she cannot do this alone. We're asking to help cover legal fees to defend her license, basic living expenses for her and her 3 children, rehabilitation and training programs to help re-enter the nursing field stronger and wiser. This isn't just about money. It's about believing in redemption and the power of growth. and in the truth that one moment of poor judgment should not erase a lifetime of hard work and compassion. If you've ever made a mistake you wish you could take back, I hope you'll understand where Yazz is coming from. Any donation, share, or word of encouragement means the world to us. And that's basically it. I have a lot of thoughts about this statement. I will say it's well written. I will say for a second it had me thinking, I do feel bad for her. I've made a mistake myself. Everybody's made a mistake in their lives where they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could take that back. And you can see like the big picture of her and her family. And she is a single mother of 3. And I don't want to say empathy baiting, but I don't like how the children are being used as a way to kind of get people to donate when the situation at hand, like, in my opinion, Yazz should have been thinking about this while she was live streaming. This is not just a case, in my opinion, where it was like a simple mistake. My main issue with this is that in going online and publishing yourself and basically broadcasting yourself to the internet, you had to know that there was going to be some sort of response. You had to have the forethought to say, if you see any patient information, holler. And to act like you weren't doing anything wrong or that you didn't know or that this was an honest mistake and you didn't know. That is one of the main things. I keep coming back to that because when you think about her saying that, that means that she knew that this was not something that she should have been doing. That means that she knew that patient information could be shared during this live stream, that patient information could be flying around during this live stream. Why would she say, if you see any patient information, holler, if she didn't think anything was going to come out of this, if she didn't think anything was wrong with this? And, this is just my opinion, my speculation, but hey, I think the more we know about Yazz, the more we know about her journey, it makes it more insane to me, really more upsetting and sad that she decided to go live streaming, if that makes sense. Because you're talking about someone who was going 180 miles a day to nursing school to commute. That's insane while being a single mother. All this time, all this hard work that she did, she literally just threw it in the trash for a few TikTok followers and a few likes. Because at the end of the day, TikTok could be a career, right? TikTok could be a career. But the thing that you've worked for, the thing that you've built your TikTok off of, because her entire TikTok is like very nurse branded. So like you've literally not only thrown away your job, your career, you've also thrown away what type of image you were trying to curate on social media. All this for nothing. And I also don't really see this accountability that I'm hearing a lot about in these fundraisers, in this description. I'm not seeing this accountability. In my opinion, her taking accountability would be her not to going to the internet to sit here and basically ask for money to cover up her own wrongdoing. Because in my opinion, if she had taken accountability and she actually understood what she did and why people are upset about it, then she would legitimately understand that asking the internet to basically help her wash this away from her record, to help her rehabilitate herself, is not something that she should be doing. And she should face the consequences for that. Like, I don't know. It's not giving accountability. $15K is also a hefty asking price. I know lawyers and whatsoever might be very expensive, but again, this is a case where they decided to broadcast their own actions. They decided to do what they did, and it had impacts on people, and people were upset, and people were mad. Because when you share stuff to the internet, and I can't emphasize this enough, you have to realize that this could be seen by literally anyone. It's not always going to be positive response. There's going to be some people who disagree with me. So you always have to have that in mind, especially when you're doing this type of thing, especially when you are putting your own career on the line for your content. Like, come on, girl. And also, I really just want to talk about the wider trend that I've noticed with GoFundMe, with these type of funding websites, that I think is really disturbing and really upsetting, honestly. And it's kind of this misuse of these websites. Like, I could not tell you how many scams or unfinished products where people will pay for one thing and never get it, or get it and it's like absolutely horrible. And whether that be products or, people just using the site as a way to scam people. And it's so unfortunate and it's so sad and it's just really disgusting. But I really wanted to bring up this one scenario because I think it really encompasses a lot of the issues that I've had with these platforms as of late, and like why I think these platforms should have stricter guidelines and stricter regulations for what they allow. Like, I think they should actually have someone checking this type of stuff to see what is being posted on their sites. Basically, just to set a stage for you, this is in Minnesota. 2 kids are on the playground, but this mother accuses a black child of stealing from her diaper bag, I believe. And instead of being an average parent and going to the kid's parent and be like, hey, your kid stole from me. And I have to say allegedly, because we don't even know if this is true, if the kid actually stole or whatever, and I'm really doubting it given the behavior of the mother. But the mother, instead of, being a reasonable parent, being a mature person, being a regular person, being a normal person, the mother decides to use the N-word against the child, call the child an N-word to their face. White mother, by the way, should not be saying that word, mind you. Well, of course, she got lots of hate for that online after the father took a video of this and posted this. So instead of being a normal person, she goes on Give, Send, Go, which is basically this GoFundMe dupe. And she literally, she says, I'm the victim in the scenario. People are threatening me. People are, threatening my safety, help my family. And she raised over $700,000 off of calling a child an N-word. What is happening? I'm tired of GoFundMe. I'm tired of Give Some Go. Like, we just need a total revamp of these sites because I legitimately feel like they could be so great. And I'm not even trying to sit here and be the police of what people fund or what people want to get funded, because if you want to do a GoFundMe and people want to donate, go right ahead. But I feel like we have to have honesty of like where this money is going to. It's like, it's giving that you don't want to work or like don't want to go back to another job. And I get that. Those jobs, those like minimum wage jobs or jobs that people are mentioning like Walmart, those type of jobs, it might not be what she wanted, especially after she's gone through nursing school. But it goes back to this lack of accountability. I feel like accountability in this scenario would be Yazz Scott sitting here and saying, I'm so sorry. I'm going to take a break from social media. And it doesn't have to be a break from social media. I don't know. There's no acknowledgement of how this actually could have impacted a patient, of how this actually sets a really bad standard for nurses, of how this further degrades trust in a medical system and makes good nurses look bad. A lot of the things that I was seeing in the comments and some nurses or medical professionals were pointing out that they were upset that it had kind of become a nurse hate kind of competition. And I want to say that nurses really have it hard, okay? Nurses and medical professionals in general are not paid well enough for what they do, paid well enough for how much they care. And generally, most medical professionals are actually caring people, in my opinion. Like, so to sully that name, to sit here and to cause this harm to the trust of like the medical establishment is crazy. And then to sit here and act like it was just one mistake, nobody told me. And it's like, girl, people were literally telling you in the comments, but okay. And if I'm honest about this situation, in my own opinion, the only people I feel bad for in this situation right now are her kids, her family, and her patients, because not only did she get herself into this situation, but people literally warned her. And another thing that she also doesn't mention, that she also kind of has wiped from her page, is her immediate reaction afterwards, which was going on live stream, kind of baiting people by being like, I'm not going to talk about what happened to me. She sat on lives. She got more attention and clout off this. She utilized that clout. She continued to make content. And she now is continuing to make content that is rage baity or that is involving her own children to garner more sympathy from people on the internet, which is weird. Like, can we just stop putting our kids in content in general? I have to say, I'm tired of seeing people's kids in content. I get it if you're posting like your kid on your like personal Instagram or whatever, but when you're doing like vlogs, it's just weird. I don't like when kids are used as content. I don't like how in this situation, kids are being used kind of as ways to make us feel bad for her, ways for us to donate. And I do feel bad for the children because they are, at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones who have to suffer. I wish there was a way to just donate to the kids, which is not a thing. But like, because I would not like to give Yazz Scott money. I'm sorry. I don't want to give her money. I think she truly knew what she was doing and now is sitting here acting like she didn't because the consequences are coming and they're not pretty. And also, every time I think about the fact that she is a single mother of three, that she had these three kids to provide with, I think it really just shows the decision-making level as well. Because if you're saying like, oh, if patient information shows, holla, let a girl know. If you knew that this is something that's potentially dangerous, even to your job, to your career, why on earth would you do this knowing, well, you have to provide for your own children? She consistently made content before this talking about, how nice it was to be a nurse, how nice it was to provide for her kids, how nice it was to have her own place, her own apartment. And again, it's like, what were you thinking, girl? But another thing that also makes me feel like she's really trying to enjoy herself off of this controversy is the fact that she recently made a cleaning video where she mixes two chemicals together, and commenters literally point out that this could make toxic gas. So I guess this girl is joining clean talk as well. She's done parenting talk, she's done nurse talk, and now we're going on to clean talk. Like, I'm sorry, when will we learn to not mix cleaning products? Like, it's a science experiment, because all these chemicals are toxic, y'all. We are not supposed to be breathing in this stuff. We are not supposed to be mixing and matching chemicals. And it wasn't even like an aesthetic thing. It seems like she just legitimately thought it was a good idea to mix these chemicals. And people in the comments are also calling out her spending habits, because in the GoFundMe, it really seems like she was struggling. Like, she really needed this money. So here's what the top comment is. So you so you have a GoFundMe, but you're going out to Starbucks. And then somebody else says, "Oh my God, why are you mixing cleaning chemicals? Have you learned nothing? Comet contains sodium hydrochloride and other reactive chemicals. Mixing it with the pine sol can produce toxic gases and fumes. No wonder why you did what you did while you were working as a nurse. You ain't all there. Gonna use this as a training vid next semester." Now, that last one was a little bit nasty, okay, but there were some mistakes made. I will never get the mixing of these chemicals. And like, I don't want to defend these clean talkers, the people who like mix all this stuff. I don't know, at least that's aesthetically pleasing to look at. This is just mixing chemicals for the sake of mixing them. Like, I wonder if girl was trying to get a response. And also, I do just want to say, like, we have seen some nastiness and some people, she says people were threatening her and people were telling her to, end herself, which is not acceptable. We should not be doing that. That's one thing about the internet. It's like, sometimes they'll take it too far, and it's like, okay, we don't like Yazz Scott, like, what she did was wrong, right? But why are we sitting here and literally, like, telling her to do, like, that's not, and I just want to emphasize that I don't wish her any harm, and I don't think anybody should. I just want her to take accountability. I kind of just want her social media presence to, I don't know, I want her to at least act like she understands what she did, and it seems like she doesn't, and it seems like she still wants to profit off of what she did, which is very, very, very weird. But I, again, wanted to emphasize, because I've seen, like, some of the comments that I haven't really talked about or scrolled over are like, oh, one mistake shouldn't define your life. And, that is fine. That is perfectly right. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all do things that we don't want to do, maybe say things that we don't want to say or mean to say. But I just want to emphasize that if you're in the medical field, if you're a nurse, this stuff is literally life and death. So, like, why are we sitting here acting like this is, like, a simple mistake when she literally made a med error? If she would have made an error on the wrong medicine, someone literally could have died here. So, like, let's not sit here and play like this is something that's not serious. Nurse.org says this: medication errors harm over 7 million patients in the US each year and contribute to around 7,000 deaths. So, again, this is something that legitimately impacts people and is very dangerous to do. So, like, live streaming and making the possibility for error even higher is not something that we should want to or need to be doing, honestly. But that's enough for me, because I heard a lot from people in the comment section. I heard a lot from medical professionals. So here's what one person says. Catboy2921 says, I worked in healthcare not long enough to get jaded about it, and I distinctly remember being approached by a group of distressed patients with a very simple request, asking for the TV remote, which I knew was behind the nurse's station. Upon me promising to look for the remote for them, they paused and sighed in relief. Oh, you're the only one who's taken us seriously. I literally just walked a few steps and handed the remote to them. Even asked the nurses if they're allowed to have it, and they said it's no problem. So why were they being ignored for the last couple of hours? I was working in the psychiatric care, and I noticed most of the psych nurses were drained, in many cases apathetic. I've seen firsthand how good nurses are ruined by healthcare megacorporations, but I also see many naturally mean people employed in this position. And I really think this comment brought up something really important that I don't think I touched on fully or a lot in my last video, and that is the fact that nurses are very underpaid. Nurses go through a lot of stuff, and it's not just nurses, like healthcare professionals are very underpaid. And if you look at how much these healthcare CEOs are making compared to the average nurse, even though some people are going to sit here and say, oh my gosh, nurses make 80K, it really depends where you work. There is a varying amount of pay. I feel like, in my opinion, generally, I don't think nurses and a lot of medical professionals are paid for what they do. Like, me seeing, like, TikTok nurses be like, get ready for a 12-hour shift with me, are 12 hours? Literally having people's lives in your hands. I think that's something that you should be paid pretty well for. You know what I mean? And also, the bit about apathy is something that I've heard mentioned as well. I think that is also something important to mention, because a lot of nurses are really just tired or really just swamped. So, like, they might have been good nurses in the past, but now are kind of just tired, given the fact that they've had to do so much. And then we also just have to talk about how expensive and insanely expensive healthcare is in this country. Like, try not having insurance for a day. It's horrible. It's like literally everything is insanely expensive. Generic medications are like $30, $40, depending on what you get, even more. And then, God forbid, you actually have to go to an emergency room. Urgent care alone is like hundreds of dollars, depending on what you end up getting. And the emergency room visits, you can expect like thousands of dollars. So like, all my non-American viewers, this probably sounds absolutely insane to you, because in America, unfortunately, you know, our healthcare is very divided. Because, oh my gosh, isn't it really insane how there's like luxury hospitals? I was looking this up a little bit. Why are there like hospital suites that you can pay extra for? Like concierge hospitals. I'm sorry. Another medical professional in the comments said this. RN here. It's a blessing to have the ability to serve others as a nurse. So many people would give so much to be a nurse. Nursing school and the NCLEX is rough. Patients are vulnerable, scared, and often have no idea any of the medical jargon being thrown at them means. You don't have to love the job every day, but you have to love your patients. You might not like them. They might make you frustrated, but most of the time they're not themselves. Sick people act out. Sick people get scared. We should have the empathy to care for people and do no harm as we promise to do. Unfortunately, nursing has become a career for shallow people who value money and feeling above others. And I'm really glad that this person brought up the last part, because this is something that I could literally talk about for a long time. Because I've been obsessed about how our current capitalistic, like, education system that has such an emphasis on basically making a return on your investment for university emphasizes careers that ideally make the most profit, meaning like things like engineering, things like medical. STEM careers are very highly emphasized now. And I think that really leads to people pursuing careers that they don't want or don't like to do. If we're in a world where like all these jobs could make living wages, you'd be fine doing whatever. I feel like the degree paths would be a lot more varied. I feel like not everybody wants to be a nurse. Not everybody wants to be an anesthesiologist, okay? Like people are literally just going on like Indeed and be like, okay, what is getting paid $200K a year? Okay, yep, I'm gonna do that. And they'll do that and then they'll hate the job. Doing that, I feel like just ends up making a negative experience for everybody involved. You don't end up liking your job. You don't end up liking what you do. So it's like, why are we doing this? It's really sad and I really hate it, and I really wish there was a way that people were able to actually pursue careers that they enjoyed and not have to sacrifice living wage. And just one last comment I want to get to before we just jump into the final part of this video. This commenter says, bad nurses strike such a chord for me. 17 years old, begging the nurse to change my hospice mother's soiled bedding 5+ times over hours and having to leave when my family arrived so I would not punch this woman. She did it when my grandparents arrived. She was not working when I was asking. She was gossiping with her other not working friends. This was even in ICU and they had not been able to move my mother yet. But until she was moved, she was her patient. It tainted my view of nurses forever, and it's almost been 10 years, and I'm still shocked when I come across a good nurse. It doesn't help that myself, my husband, and my grandmother have all had bad nurses during our stays in the last few years. I have had wonderful nurses, but the bad apples make it impossible to trust any of them. This is my body, my health, my life, and I need to be able to trust you. I'm so sorry this happened to your mom. Like, this is literally hospital horror story, because, like, I cannot imagine literally having to beg for basic medical care. And I think this comment also touches on something else that I was thinking about, which is like the general trust of the medical system, because there's a lot of trust involved in this. And I think a lot of people are starting to withdraw that trust, seeing some of this stuff, because people are seeing like nurses live streaming, nurses do this. Oh, nurses are mean girls. And it's so important that there is trust there, because if you're not near a hospital that is good, or not near a hospital that, you know, has a good reputation, it can lead to mistrust in the medical system, mistrust in hospitals overall, which can lead to negative experiences. You know, if you happen to have a medical emergency and need to go to a hospital, but because of the experience you had, you know, may not go. And now we just have to get into the final part of the video and just discuss something that has deeply, deeply disturbed me. And that is copycats. It seems like anytime something blows up on the internet, anytime good or bad something blows up on the internet, there are people who are going to copy that. And I've been seeing more nurses try to live stream during work or live stream during MedPass. So let's just get into this one video where someone shows us one of these nurses, and it's literally bad. It's really bad.
Apparently there's a trend of nurses doing med passes on live stream, and at this point, I need my nurse to have a flip phone and orthopedic shoes. Now, you guys are familiar with Nurse Yazz. She was the nurse who was doing her med pass on live stream, and then she lost her job.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm old enough, I'm grown enough to know that I did something I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I have to deal with whatever comes after that. And whatever comes after that is not for me to tell y'all. It's not for me to broadcast to the world.
So you can broadcast somebody's Auntie Shirley getting a medicated patch, but not how you got fired from your job. Got it. And y'all, I wish this was the end of it, but apparently another nurse over on TikTok had also been live streaming herself doing a med pass.
So let's keep it cute. Until I can play it.
I don't know when this phenomenon began, but we
You know, like she said, let's keep it cute and let's keep off our phones while we're doing med passes. Let's keep off our phones while we're doing med passes. Please, 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 I beg you. I beg you. And it's like, okay. People might have a problem with this, but if you want to do a cute, like, nurse day in the life vlog, like, you know, hold out your little phone and, like, oh, I'm walking in the hospital, I'm getting in my scrubs, or, like, in the morning, I'm getting in my scrubs, I'm walking in the hospital. There's nothing wrong with being, like, a nurse influencer who legitimately cares about patient privacy, who legitimately cares about, you know, the law, HIPAA. But to sit here and live stream while you're on the clock, like live stream the break room. There's this one girl I follow who works at Target, and she will live stream like during her lunch in her car. And that's fine. I mean, you're not actively working, whatever. If you want to live stream at the hospital, still might get some patient information there, still might be a little risky, but I'm saying, like, why are we live streaming on the clock? While we're doing med pass. Really crazy, especially given the fact that these medical, like, med pass errors could be literally horrific and literally end somebody's life. So, like, what are we doing here? And honestly, I just really find it insane how people want to copy Yazz Scott's behavior, because did you not see what happened? They literally got her license taken. Like, she is not working currently. Why are we wanting to emulate this? But regardless, that's all from me for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you want to see next. I'll see you all next time. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye!